Right now at 5, a Carthage man pleads guilty in the murder of his wife from last year.
And it will be warm and not nearly as windy as we were the other day. We'll have a look at that forecast, get you out the door coming up.
Plus, a proposed bio-waste facility in Miami hosts an open house for the public to attend.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5 a.m. I'm Elise Snowy.
And I'm Chris Warner. It is now Wednesday. It is March the 12th, and we are trucking right along through this week. And a beautiful week it has been across the area. It does. Very, very nice weather outside. And I don't know about anybody else, but, it's also good napping weather. You just open the windows, let the breeze in. It's a good opportunity to take a nap, mid-afternoon nap or something like that. But if you're not doing that, if you got to work, you got things you got to do, well, we're going to help you get ready for your day. Starting with a quick look outside in downtown Pittsburgh. Take a look. We've got mostly clear skies, mostly clear to partly cloudy skies out there. And those skies will actually clear out this morning before the clouds return by this afternoon. MoDOT camera 32nd and range line looking pretty good as well. On to the future track. So again, here, I didn't stop this. Well, that's okay. I'll fix it later. But you see where the clouds are going to increase heading into the afternoon. And we still have that very low chance, and I'm talking a 10% chance or less, of an isolated shower storm late this evening after 7 p.m. along and south of I-44. No severe weather is expected. Same situation we were talking about the other day. It's just maybe a thunderstorm, perhaps 2 of them. Otherwise, I think most of us are dry, and then as we go overnight, the clouds will actually clear back out as we head into Thursday. We are sitting at 53 in Pittsburgh right now, and across the region, temperatures aren't that bad, but a little cooler in Sedan, say at 42, at 55 in Joplin. The majority of us in the low to mid 50s, so not too dissimilar, honestly, from yesterday morning at this same time. Kids getting on the bus, we're looking about the mid 50s out there, so warming up. Still a bit breezy this morning, south winds gusting to 20, and those winds thankfully will ease up for us as we head into the afternoon. South at about 5 to 10, but again, mostly cloudy when the bus brings the kids home, and very similar to yesterday. We're looking at upper 70s, low 80s out there. And again, after 7 o'clock, an isolated shower or storm south of I-44 is possible. But again, the overall odds are pretty low, and most of us will remain dry today. We do have additional storm chances for Friday. And I told you yesterday morning we'd get a new update this morning. We got that update, and it's some good news. We'll talk about all of that in the full forecast, and if we have some time, about the upcoming lunar eclipse here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, Chris, thanks. Well, a Carthage man pleads guilty in the murder of his wife in Kansas. Gavina McJunkins Macias has entered a guilty plea for murder in the second degree, unintentional but reckless, in the death of his wife, Kenaya Lopez, also of Carthage. Police found her body last June inside a camper trailer on the 600 block of North Main Street in Carthage. The investigation revealed a homicide had happened in Miami County, Kansas, and concluded in Carthage. Now, his sentencing for second-degree murder in Kansas is next month. On the Missouri side, prosecutors charged him with abandonment of a corpse. That case is ongoing. And now you can stay up to date with the latest news, weather, and sports with the KOAM Plus TV streaming app. It's available on Amazon Fire TV, Android TV, Apple TV Plus, and Roku. The player is also available on our news and weather apps, as well as our website. Watch live streaming anytime, absolutely free. The KOAM Plus TV streaming app. Another power outage in Carthage yesterday leaves thousands of customers in the dark. Now, at one point yesterday, more than 7,300 of the Carthage Water and Electric plant's 8,200 customers had lost power. It has since been restored, but it's the latest in a series of outages lately, causing growing frustrations throughout the community. Carthage Water and Electric officials say the issue is beyond their control.
Happened today was there was a failure of a piece of equipment in the substation on the south end of Carthage. The unique part about that is that is not our substation. It is the substation of the Department of Energy. It's a federal substation for SPA, Southwest Power Administration. And we have no jurisdiction or ability to go in and make any repairs or fix anything.
Now, we did reach out to SPA or Southwestern Power Administration, and they said they currently have temporary fixtures in place and are working hard to fix the situation for good. Well, officials announced a new source of drinking water for part of Missouri. Storage space in Stockton Lake will now be reallocated to provide drinking water to communities throughout southwest Missouri. Part of the reallocation will also include an industrial water supply. A spokesperson for Southwest Missouri Water says the project will provide 38 million gallons daily with no major impact on the lake. And a Kansas tax credit that aims to build affordable homes in Kansas could be eliminated. The bill to eliminate the credit, proposed by Representative Sean Tarwater, says the program is too costly for the state. Thousands of homes across Kansas have been built through this tax credit. Now, there are 431 affordable housing units in Pittsburgh that came about through this tax credit. The director of housing for the city of Pittsburgh says Pittsburgh has a shortage of housing, and eliminating this tax credit could make it worse.
Could cause more homelessness, as far as, because it's going to rise the prices of other housing up. I feel so it's going to make units not affordable. So those individuals may have to move out. It may make waiting lists longer.
The Kansas House approved the bill. It's now in the Senate. Well, community members attended a public open house in Miami last night for a controversial facility that would use chicken waste to produce a methane-based gas. And the possibility is drawing concerns from residents and environmental groups alike. KOAM's Samantha Walker has the details.
The application from Argo Development Partners for an air permit with the Oklahoma Department of Environment Quality is drawing concerns from Ottawa County residents and environmental agencies alike.
We are probably less than a half a mile from it, so we have a lot of concerns.
The proposed facility by Argo, referred to as the Oklahoma Bioprocessing Project, would bring in over 160,000 tons of chicken litter from local farmers a year, creating renewable natural gas, liquid fertilizer, and solid fertilizer.
We have, probably almost, definitely more than $10 million in odor control. We have a lot of engineering that's gone into this, a lot of water treatment chemical project, sort of design and engineering that's gone into the plant.
Following community concerns, Argo and the Miami Area Economic Development Service are providing an overview of the project for the community. Details include project engineering, operating plans, permits, health and safety, and community benefits. We
know there's a lot of information that's floating around on Facebook and other sources, and we just want to present what we're doing, and so the public can decide for themselves, what we're doing here.
The open house also allows for questions and comments from the public. Community members have raised a variety of concerns regarding the facility, for example, the smell it might emit. Organizers hope the open house can help address those questions,
so that you can be better informed on what this project really is, and then make a decision whether or not you're in favor of it or not. We're not telling anybody to support the project or to be against the project. We simply want everyone to have the opportunity to get their questions answered.
Attendees say it's important for them to have the facts on what changes might be coming to their community.
How this project's going to be built, the science behind it, they're going to know. They're not just going to take a word like poultry litter and run with it. They're going to have the actual knowledge of what it is.
You don't learn much on Facebook, no.
Reporting in Miami, Samantha Walker, KOAM News.
The Oklahoma Department of Environmental Quality is holding another meeting about the permit on April 2nd. The agency will be taking comments from the public during that meeting. And that's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes, coming up on the KOAM Morning News. A summer collegiate baseball team is coming to Fort Scott. We'll have the details. Plus, a cargo ship continues to burn after colliding with a jet fuel tanker off the coast of England. And we have another warm and windy day today. We'll have what to expect with Chris Warner in the Skywatch Weather Center. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back.
A summer collegiate baseball team is coming to Fort Scott. The Mid-America League holds a press conference at LaRoche Baseball Complex yesterday afternoon and announced that it will be the new home of the league's 7th franchise starting in the summer of 2026.
We are here today to announce Fort Scott as the 7th team in our franchise and the first team in the great state of Kansas. So really exciting for that opportunity for the city.
Our hope is that at some point in the future, we'll be watching the World Series and we can look back and say, hey, that kid played in Fort Scott. Let's hopefully that happens in our lifetime.
This league brings with it the promise of exciting matchups, unforgettable moments, and a deeper connection between fans, players, and our town.
Now, the team doesn't have a name yet. To suggest one, you can do so at fortscottbaseball.com. We do know they will play their games at Dave Reagan Stadium at the LaRoche Baseball Complex, which is home to the Fort Scott High School baseball program. This summer, Joplin Outlaws will play a 3-game series there from July 11th to the 13th. Lebec County girls basketball played rival Fort Scott twice in the regular season and lost both times. This past Saturday, the Lady Grizzlies faced the Lady Tigers for a 3rd time in the Sub-State Championship and won in overtime. After taking down Fort Scott in the Sub-State title game, Lebec County girls basketball is headed to the Class 4A state tournament for the 2nd year in a row. Yesterday, the Lady Grizzlies hit the practice floor, making some final preparations before their trip to Salina and reflect on the overtime victory that got them here.
I asked them to look at me in the eyes. Don't have your eyes wandering. Don't look down. Don't look defeated in those moments, even though we lost, and especially against Fort Scott. And I never had doubt. I never saw them doubt in those moments. And I think we've seen that throughout our season of close games. How do we get through those moments? And it's by believing in each other and believing in ourselves.
I think it just helps that a lot of the girls, I can see 4 or 5 of them that have played on that stage before, and I think we're ready for it. There's not really any pressure. Well, there's always pressure, but there's not nervousness because we've been there before. We know what we're doing. We're experienced. We're an older team, so I think we're ready for that challenge.
Over in Missouri high school basketball, Aurora facing Logan Rogersville in a Class 4 sectional for the 2nd night in a row. Monday, the Wildcats boys team knocked Aurora out of the playoffs. Last night, same happens to the girls. Lady Hounds fall 60-44, and their season comes to a close in the sectional round of playoffs with a final record of 23-6. And some major coaching news yesterday. Pittsburgh State head volleyball coach Jen Gomez has resigned after 9 years of leading the Gorillas. Gomez is stepping down as PSU's head volleyball coach and accepting a position as the activities director for Pittsburgh High School in USD 250. She'll assume this position following Jeff Staley's retirement on July 1st. According to a release from PSU Athletics, Pitt State Athletic Director Jim Johnson plans to expedite a search to find Gomez's replacement as the next head volleyball coach. Well, still to come, a new study finds that the body image problems may start in childhood. Plus, got another look at that forecast, the warm weather, some rain chances, and we'll discuss the lunar eclipse when we come back. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. 5:18 now on this Wednesday morning. We have a lunar eclipse that begins tomorrow. I figured we'd go over that real quick because we have a couple of seconds. So I'm going to step out of the way because this graphic actually takes up the full screen. But here's a look at the timing of the eclipse as we head into tomorrow night, starting at midnight or a little after the partial eclipse begins. Total eclipse beginning at 1:26 a.m. By 1:58, we've got the maximum. Total comes to an end at 2:31. And we'll have that partial eclipse ending by about 3:47. So if you're up really late or maybe up really early, going into Thursday morning, then, you might have an opportunity to view this. If not, the next one's not going to be viewable until March 3rd of 2026. So I know a lot of folks have been talking about the lunar eclipse. It's known as the worm one because that's when earthworms become active in the soil. Now, the more you know. And the more you know about your forecast. So again, we've got some clouds out there this morning. Believe it or not, they're going to clear out. We'll have clear skies in the first half of our Wednesday. And then by this afternoon, we'll have those clouds increasing across the area. It will not really hamper our temperatures from getting very warm again. And then late this evening, after about 6 or 7, again, an isolated shower or thunderstorm will be possible south of I-44. No severe weather is expected, but again, a stray shower or two out there. I think the majority of us will remain dry. Then we go into Thursday. So overnight tonight, skies will clear out again. We go into Thursday. It's going to be another warm day. Maybe not as warm as it has been, at least initially, but as those south winds return by the evening or the afternoon into the evening, those temperatures will take off again, and then it'll really start to warm up. Now, I know we're still talking about Friday and the storms. There's some good news on that front. The severe threat, again, it's unfortunately for our friends in the east, it looks to be a potentially significant severe weather event. For us, though, we're looking to be right on the edge of when all of this gets started. A big story for us Friday is going to be wind gusts. And we're talking very windy, like what we saw last week, anywhere 40 to 60 mile an hour wind gusts out of the south, which will not be good at all. It will not be enjoyable whether we get storms or not. Some of those gusts can be damaging on their own. Now, by Friday evening and late afternoon and evening, if you look close, you'll see little showers and storms on the eastern fringes of our area. Otherwise, partly to mostly cloudy skies, still very windy for us by Friday evening. So here's what we're looking at. Again, for today, there's that same zone long and south of I-44 for some scattered storms, and I forgot to take that off. No storms tomorrow. And then Friday, there's that low risk, and I figured we'd get something like that. Now, I thought it'd be a little further west. It's not. It's barely clipping us, so we're barely going to get in on this activity. But again, our friends off to the east looking at a significant severe weather event, unfortunately, the first one of the season. Temperatures this morning, most of us into the 50s, but we do have some 40s out there. Miami, for example, a little colder, sitting at 43. As we get our day started, again, clear skies through the morning, upper 50s to start, upper 60s by 11 a.m., and then the clouds will increase. South breeze about 5 to 10. We'll go upper 70s, low 80s again today and tomorrow. Very windy Friday. Again, some isolated evening storms. I think are going to be right on the edge of all of this activity getting started, and then it will intensify to our east. Seasonably chilly as we go into the weekend. Had some warm weather Monday and Tuesday, maybe a shower or storm next Tuesday. Let's check your forecast. We'll be back with Health Watch right after this.
Well, topping Health Watch this morning. Parents, listen up. Research says children can develop an unhealthy body image before entering the 3rd grade. A study found kids as young as 7 start to judge their bodies in ways that could eventually lead to an eating disorder. Researchers conducted experiments with several hundred children aged 7 to 15 years old and adults. Participants were shown photographs of people with varying BMIs and were asked to judge how heavy or light each person was. Researchers found people of all ages significantly changed their perceptions after being shown images of people who are clinically overweight or obese. They say the results indicate that people's perception of body weight are evolving from as young as age 7. Well, the Agriculture Department has cut 2 programs that provided money for schools and food banks to buy food from local farmers. The first program provided roughly $660 million to the Local Food for Schools Cooperative Agreement Program. The rest of the money was earmarked for the Local Food Purchase Assistant Cooperative Agreement Program. Now, the ending of these programs will suspend more than $1 billion in federal spending, and some officials have already voiced opposition to the announcement, including the Iowa Food System Coalition and Massachusetts Governor Maura Healey. Well, spring is around the corner, and if you're one of the millions of Americans who suffer from seasonal allergies, you may be dreading this time of year, but experts say you can help lessen the impact of allergies. Mandy Gaither talks to an allergist about what to do now to prepare for spring allergies.
It's that time of year again. The flowers, the sun, the pollen.
if you wait until you start to have symptoms, those allergy cells are already starting to get unhappy.
That's why allergist Dr. Christopher Brooks with the Ohio State University Wexner Medical Center says if you're one of the millions who suffer from spring allergies, prepare now to lessen and even prevent some symptoms before they get out of control. He says to begin using sprays. Saline can help clear the nasal passages, and a steroid nasal spray can help reduce inflammation.
Some of the generics are things like fluticasone or mometasone. So starting 1 or 2 sprays per nostril every day, a week before symptoms start, will be a great place to start.
If sprays aren't for you, Brooks says to start a long-acting antihistamine pill before symptoms start. And once pollen is in the air, check pollen forecasts, limit outdoor time at peak pollen time, continue taking allergy medications, especially ones prescribed to you, and practice good hygiene like washing hands and showering after being outside.
If they're keeping you from sleeping, they're keeping you from, living your fullest quality of life, I think it's a great idea to talk to your doctor, whether your primary care doctor or allergist, to look for next steps to help you make you feel better.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Now, the CDC says to lessen the impact of seasonal allergies by changing clothes after being outdoors, keeping windows closed, and using high-efficiency air filters in your home. And that's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
And we are watching another beautiful day across the area. Increasing clouds a little later, though. We'll have a look at that forecast when we come back.
Right now at 5:30, we look back on the impact of COVID on our area 5 years later.
And we've got a pretty decent day out there. Winds will eventually calm down and the clouds will return. We'll have a look at that forecast, get you out the door coming up.
Plus, it's time to play ball at the city of Carthage cuts the ribbon on a highly anticipated baseball field.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's just coming up on 5:31. I'm Elise Snowy.
And I'm Chris Warner. It is Wednesday, March the 12th, and I have lied to you all. Because it starts at midnight, it always throws me off. The eclipse isn't tonight night, it's tomorrow. It's Friday morning. See, it's what I hate about midnight stuff.
Thursday night, Friday morning.
Yeah, however, because it depends on your perspective, what day, what time it is.
Right.
But it'll be early Friday morning, not tomorrow morning. And I realized that as soon as I was done giving you guys the forecast earlier, and I thought to myself, no, wait. That's not right. But it is true that it is the worm moon because earthworms will become active in the soil during this time. That part was true. But it's Friday, early morning.
Still this week, it's something to look out for.
It is. And we're going to have clear skies going into Friday. So you'll be able to see it if you're up late or up early, whichever it is for you, you'll be able to see that lunar eclipse. This morning, though, no lunar eclipses, but that's good because we have some clouds out there. You wouldn't be able to see it as well. We're going to start with a live look downtown Pittsburgh. You can't see the clouds too well, but I assure you there are some of them out there. So we're mostly clear to partly cloudy across the region. MoDOT camera 32nd and range line looks good as well. Future track, I fixed it. I got the pauses back. As we head into the morning, the skies are actually going to clear out, and then by this afternoon, the clouds will return. These clouds will not stop us from warming up. And then again, late this evening after 6, along and south of I-44, an isolated shower or storm is possible. But in all honesty, I think the majority of us are pretty well going to remain dry. We're sitting at 53 in Pittsburgh, and as been the trend the last few mornings, Joplin Airport not reporting, but there's a backup station. So we're sitting at 54 in Joplin. Most of us into the 50s. A little cooler. Miami sitting at 43, 44 in Sedan. So we do have some upper 40s out there. But otherwise, again, not a bad start to the morning considering we should be a little colder than this right now. Kids getting on the bus, fairly mild, mid-50s. Still breezy this morning. South winds gusting to 20. And then by this afternoon, those winds ease up for us. They'll be out of the south 5 to 10. And look at that bus stop. Temperature 79. So very similar to what we saw yesterday. Upper 70s, low 80s. Again, clouds increase into the afternoon and evening. Maybe a stray shower or storm. And then the clouds will decrease overnight tonight. Now we have some very gusty winds on the way Friday, and we're still watching those thunderstorm chances. I've got some good news related to that. We'll go over those details with you here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, Chris, thanks. Well, yesterday marked 5 years since the World Health Organization declared the COVID-19 pandemic. It was the beginning of a wave of illness that took millions of lives worldwide. It also forced our local businesses and schools to make a lot of changes.
Not all changes that came about through the pandemic were bad. I was up here at the high school at the time as principal, and it forced us to think about some things differently. There's no real policies or anything that we've changed that have lasted over time, but practices and the way that we do things inside our buildings are different, and in a lot of ways, in positive ways, because of the forced changes that we had to go through as a district.
Now, just one of many signs the pandemic has lifted, the federal government is no longer accepting orders for free COVID-19 tests. Well, Neosho residents learned about Proposition A last night at an open house hosted by the Neosho Next Committee and the Chamber of Commerce. Voting yes for Prop A will allow for a use tax to help pay for a new aquatic center, pickleball courts, an inclusive playground, and golf facility upgrades.
We have several of these open houses coming. So basically over the next few weeks, we're doing all we can to educate the community on what projects the Proposition A, the use tax funds, will be used for, answer questions, and hopefully have people as well informed as possible for the election.
Now, the use tax would be a 3% local sales tax applied to online purchases. Voters will decide the future of Prop A on April 8th. And a ribbon cutting yesterday marks the grand opening of a new baseball stadium for Carthage High School. The official name, McCune-Brooks Regional Hospital Trust Baseball Stadium. Now, it's the culmination of 2 years of fundraising and nearly a year of construction. Supporters say it's a state-of-the-art facility.
So the stadium itself, the bleachers should fit around 250 to 300 people. We have some temporary bleachers set up, and then there's also some access for people to bring lawn chairs and do different things. So we're excited to see how many people it can fit because our community has just given us so much support. We're excited to play for them.
Now, this new stadium is on Airport Drive behind Carthage High School. The Carthage Tigers baseball team had previously played at the Carl Luton Stadium in Carthage's Municipal Park, but the concrete on that stadium was deteriorating from age. And that's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. Pakistani insurgents hijack a passenger train and take more than 100 people hostage. Plus, Ukraine agrees to a 30-day ceasefire with Russia. We'll have the latest. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. Topping World Watch, a cargo ship continued to burn Tuesday, one day after it collided with a jet fuel tanker in the North Sea off the coast of England. Safety vessels were still trying to extinguish the remaining flames on the Salong, a Portuguese-flagged cargo vessel. Now, it's now drifting southwards, and the British Maritime Minister said the vessel is unlikely to remain afloat. Now, on Monday, the Salong collided with the tanker Stena Immaculate, which was carrying jet fuel for the U.S. military. The fuel tanker was apparently at anchor when the smaller cargo ship struck it. The collision resulted in explosions and fires and a fuel leak. A crew member from the Salong is still missing and presumed dead. A passenger train is hijacked in Pakistan Tuesday. Insurgents attacking the train as it went through a tunnel in the city of Mak. Now, the group claims to have taken more than 100 people hostage, though officials say at least 104 have been rescued. The attackers blew up the railway train and exchanged fire with security guards while using women and children as human shields. Now, some of the passengers were wounded during the attack. The separatist Balak Liberation Army is claiming responsibility. A spokesman for the group saying they would free passengers if the government agrees to release the group's jailed militants. Well, Ukraine says it will accept a 30-day ceasefire in its war with Russia. Now, this comes as talks go on in Saudi Arabia with U.S. officials. Alex Hogan is in Tel Aviv with the latest.
After more than 7 hours of meetings in Saudi Arabia, the U.S. and Ukraine announced new steps to bring the war with Russia closer to an end.
The Ukrainians have accepted, which is to enter into a ceasefire.
U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio and National Security Advisor Mike Waltz explained the plan calls for a 30-day pause in fighting, which could then be extended.
The Ukrainian delegation today made something very clear, that they share President Trump's vision for peace.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky tonight says his country is ready to make a deal.
Not only stopping missile, drone, bomb attacks, not only in the Black Sea, but along the entire front line.
It's the first in-person U.S.-Ukraine meeting since President Zelensky's dramatic Oval Office visit 2 weeks ago.
You don't have the cards right now.
Now Washington is lifting its suspension of military aid to Ukraine and its pause on intelligence sharing. It comes as Ukraine says Russian forces fired a ballistic missile and more than 120 drones toward the country overnight. Russia says Ukraine launched its biggest drone attack, deploying more than 300 drones, including more than 90 on Moscow. Back on the diplomatic front, Secretary Rubio says the next move is up to Russia.
Our hope is that the Russians will answer yes as quickly as possible. If they say no, then we'll unfortunately know what the impediment is to peace here.
Trump administration's special envoy Steve Witkoff is expected to travel to Moscow later this week. Also in the talks to U.S. and Ukraine agreed to conclude the minerals deal in the near future.
And that's a look at some of your biggest headlines from around the world. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News, coming up on 5:45 now on this Wednesday morning. We're going to start with the future track. So again, this morning the skies will clear out, the winds will begin to calm down, and then this afternoon the clouds will return. We'll still have, thankfully, easier winds for us out there. Temperatures, though, just as warm as they were yesterday. Now late this evening after 6, and you can see this is already updated. It's even narrowed down more. We could get an isolated shower or possibly a thunderstorm south of I-44 late this evening, but most of us are going to remain dry, and these chances are relatively low. When we go into Thursday, or overnight tonight into Thursday, the skies will begin to clear out again, and Thursday looking just as good as we are today. Now, we're a little slower to warm on Thursday, but we will eventually have the south winds begin to gradually increase a bit late Thursday, and that will warm us up a little late Thursday. So again, more like a summertime thing where we reach our peak heating at 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. We'll do the same thing on Thursday. Now, overnight into Friday, we will have clear skies. So that's when the lunar eclipse is, by the way. Starts a little after midnight Friday morning. But you'll be able to see it if you're awake. If you're not, that's all right too, because I can completely understand being asleep at midnight. All right, winds will begin to increase Friday. Now, winds are going to be our biggest concern. There's a significant severe weather situation that's developing to our east. We thankfully will not be part of, but it looks to be the first significant severe weather outbreak of the season. And again, thankfully for us, it will be just to our east, but our friends to the east are going to get into some nasty stuff. However, we are going to be just in the middle of all of this, and we're going to have those winds start gusting 40, 60, maybe even as high as 70 miles an hour as we go through the day on Friday. So even though we may not get much in the way of thunderstorm activity, we could still get damage from damaging wind gusts through the day. Most of Friday is sunny and warm. Not as warm as we have been, but it will still be warm. Then clouds will begin to increase later in the afternoon on Friday. And because we're going to be right on the edge of where all of this begins, we could get a stray shower or storm on the Missouri side of things as this activity starts. Shouldn't do much for us. It'll really ramp up to the east, but a couple of stray showers or storms will be possible by late Friday. With that said, again tonight, while the chance is very low, we do have that risk for general thunderstorms out there this evening. And then Friday rather, we do have that low risk, just clipping the far eastern part of the area, and then the general thunderstorms barely in here as well. So that's, again, we should be primarily dry on Friday, but a couple of isolated storms will be possible out to the east. Quick look at those temperatures this morning. Most of us are sitting into the 50s. We do have some 40s out there, so either way you paid it, though, still above normal for this time of year, so fairly mild start. That's where we're going to be. Upper 50s by 8 o'clock, upper 60s near 70 by 11 a.m. We'll have clear skies through the morning. sunny. South winds about 5 to 10 by this afternoon. Upper 70s, low 80s today and tomorrow. A little cooler, just a little on Friday. Then we'll be seasonably chilly heading into the weekend, and 70s again to kick off the next work week. That's Check Your Forecast. We're back with more after this.
Well, for the latest movie and music news, here's David Daniel with the Hollywood Minute.
They say that these are not the best of times, but they're the only times I've ever known.
These are not the best of times for Billy Joel. The iconic singer-songwriter is postponing his current tour for 4 months. According to his official Instagram account, he'll be recovering from recent surgery and undergoing physical therapy. No specifics about his particular medical condition. The tour is set to resume July 5th in Pittsburgh. The Instagram account includes rescheduled dates for the 8 shows he'll miss.
Whistle while you work.
Journalists will not be whistling or working at the big Snow White premiere Saturday. Instead of the usual red carpet interviews by dozens of press outlets, Disney is limiting coverage to still photographers and an in-house Disney camera crew. The film, which opens March 21st, has been beset by controversies, including several involving star Rachel Zegler.
Multiple.
Warner Brothers stars are pulling double duty. The studio's Mickey 17 features Robert Pattinson playing opposite himself. The trend continues March 21st when Robert De Niro plays mobsters Vito Genovese and Frank Costello in The Alto Knights. And April 18th, Michael B. Jordan plays twins in yet another Warner's film, Sinners. Seeing double in Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
Well, a micro artist known for creating amazing works you can't even see just broke the mold, crafting the world's smallest Lego brick. Jeremy Roth has today's Take a Look at This.
Take a look at the world's smallest Lego brick, which Guinness World Records says is roughly the same size as a human white blood cell. This infinitesimal trinket is the latest wondrous work of art by the UK's David A. Linden, a self-described micro artist who's made a career of creating and sometimes recreating fascinating objects so small they can't be seen without the aid of a microscope. Linden says it's an artistic challenge that is demanding both physically and mentally. His latest little labor of love, a series of tiny Lego bricks seen here on the head of a pin, the tiniest of which captured the record of world's smallest handmade sculpture, reportedly 4 times smaller than the previous record holder. Speaking of toys, a Massachusetts toddler almost had to say farewell to a beloved baby doll after reportedly dropping it in a massive ocean tank at the New England Aquarium.
I was holding her over to see the turtles, and she dropped her. My heart just stopped, and there were maybe like 70 people up there, and there was like a collective
Thankfully, the turtles didn't eat the doll. In fact, they gave it one shell of a fun ride before the aquarium officials fished it out and returned it to its rightful owner. Don't worry, they sanitized it first.
Honestly, that doll was cleaner after we were done with it before it hit the water.
Finally, speaking of toys for girls and boys, a vintage book on the subject is now an antiquity of note after being returned to a New Jersey library 99 years overdue. Mary Cooper found it among her late mother's belongings and could have been facing an estimated $18,000 in overdue fines. But thankfully, the Ocean County Library is now fine-free and instead is proudly displaying the readable relic in their historical archives. For Take a Look at This, I'm Jeremy Roth.
Very cool. Stick around. We'll be right back. Well, a British zoo celebrates the birth of an endangered primate. The so far unnamed baby cockerel shafak, also known as a dancing lemur, is making its debut at the Chester Zoo. Now, it was born weighing around 1/5 of a pound a few weeks ago to parents Beatrice and Elliot. Zookeepers say the new arrival will stay close to its mother for around 6 months before branching out and exploring on its own. And they will determine the baby's gender. The species is native to Madagascar and is one of the world's rarest primates. Unlike other lemurs, they stand upright and use their legs to spring side to side along the forest floor. Chester is the only zoo in the UK to care for dancing lemurs. A baby sea lion has quickly become the most acrobatic animal at a Washington state aquarium. The sea lion, named Pepper, was caught on camera holding an artificial kelp strip as she swam in gymnastic-like circles and Point Defiance Zoo and Aquarium in Tacoma. Now, it's all part of the 9-month-old enrichment activities, aiming to strengthen her interaction with kelp and making it easier for her to explore her environment with her mouth.
Got more gymnastic moves than I certainly have. There was a time I was a little bit more flexible, and then started to age, and that flexibility kind of went away. It does happen, unfortunately, so enjoy it while you got it. We're going to be nice and warm today. Great day to enjoy the outdoors again. Upper 50s to start, upper 60s by 11 a.m. Now, we'll have clear skies through the morning, and then clouds increase heading into the afternoon. Highs once again upper 70s, low 80s. Winds a bit easier on us, south at about 5 to 10 miles an hour. Excuse me, into the evening, still mostly cloudy, and then overnight, clouds begin to clear. We'll fall back into the upper 40s, low 50s out there. Thursday looks good. Clear skies, upper 70s, low 80s again. Very mild Thursday night. And then going into Friday, clouds will increase a bit into the afternoon, mid-70s. Could have an isolated shower or storm, mainly on the Missouri side. This is part of what is expected to be a significant severe weather event to our east. I don't think we're going to have to deal with anything too crazy on our side, but we are talking wind gusts on Friday, anywhere from 40 to 60, maybe even to 70 miles an hour, so something we'll have to watch. We'll be back with more of the KOAM Morning News right after this.